Hello, everyone. Back to another conversation at the Builder Innovator Conference. Conversation about maintenance, about technology, about the future of multifamily maintenance. I'm going to turn it over to Daniel to take over the conversation. Daniel.
Right on. Thanks, Adrian. So I thought it was interesting. We were having a conversation. I thought it'd be great to talk to you guys about what's happening in your company, because you have generally, up until recently, been a company that's focused on develop ground up and then hold for 2 years and then flip, right? And that's the model. And now you guys have just changed recently to a longer term kind of hold mentality. And as a couple of key folks on the maintenance side, I'm curious about what that does in terms of a number of fronts. Number one, and we don't have to tackle all these at once. We'll start, but broadly, how does that make you think about furnishings differently? What furnishings you select for property? How do you think about CapEx and planning for CapEx separately? You know, I remember working with somebody a long time ago who said, who had a similar model, like, I don't really care about maintenance because I'm going to turn the building in 2 years and it's somebody else's problem, right? Yeah. Now it's your problem. So good maintenance processes. Now are you thinking differently about maintenance processes? And then lastly, like, do you think differently about the tech stack that you need or the technology that you want to use in order to support a more, let's call it, vigorous, long-term thinking, maintenance and preventive maintenance plan? So let's start with the difference of outlook, and like, is there anything broadly that you think differently now about maintenance that you're holding properties for 7-10 years?
Yeah, like a big part of that is the preventive maintenance and protecting our assets, all those different things. And like you mentioned with technology, we do use technology for that. We do vacant unit inspections monthly. We do quarterly preventive maintenance, all these different inspections, maintaining our asset. And we want to make sure we're maintaining it. So we have photos in it and all that stuff. And like you said, in our previous model, it didn't matter that much. Like, we want to catch issues, of course, and we want to make sure it was right to sell them. But long term, we need to start looking at that on our end.
So you were doing it before, but whether it was a priority, whether anybody really cared, if the inspection got done, maybe that got overlooked. Now it's a priority.
Yeah, well, we've always done preventive maintenance, but we're a lot more stringent on it now. Like, we write inspections that are specific. So like Q2, for example, coming up, they're cleaning our inside coils, outside coils. They're putting conditioners in the pan, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just to maintain the asset for as long as we can.
Got it. And are there different maintenance workflows now that you think about that before economically didn't make sense for a short-term hold?
I think possibly like the landscaping. So we've always put in the items that look good. We want to make sure it looks good to sell. We want to make sure it looks good to prospects. Now we have to look more at functionality. How long is this particular species of tree going to last us? Is it going to last us 5 years? And then we have to pull them out and replace them at $30,000 a tree.
Yeah.
So it's looking at things like that towards the future that we have to start looking at that we weren't previously.
Yeah. At a regional level, is there any difference the thinking about the different properties? Like, for example, maybe that wasn't so important to have your thumb on the pulse of what's happening at every single property, but now you want greater visibility. Now you want to get ahead of any, deferred maintenance before it happens. Anything happening on that side?
Yes, I'd say you can never take 100 reactive mindset out of maintenance fields. The product's going to fail. Things are going to break across the board, whether it's landscaping, irrigation, MEP systems, anything. Having a proactive mindset towards as much as possible really helps with that. Whether it's just doing, people look at preventive maintenance where it's just doing preventive maintenance on like cleaning a coil, doing them in the units. What about the larger assets on the property? The pool, the fitness center, the bigger ticket items, the landscaping, the irrigation, looking into the proactive, looking down 3-5 years versus maybe just I don't want to say a Band-Aid fix, but let's get it up and running and worry about it, next season. Well, next season it's only going to cost more. Stuff is not getting cheaper. So looking at that mindset, be proactive across the board.
Did you even have some of those schedules before?
We did.
Yeah.
We did. It was just, we definitely did. It was just different. We did preventative maintenance on all the units since day one. At least since I've been with the company, we've done it every quarter.
Yeah.
They're just more in detail now. With that comes managing time, staffing, et cetera, but it's things that cannot be skipped. If you miss 1 or 2 quarters, it's inevitably going to affect your budget, your time management, and everything that following quarter.
You mentioned staffing, and that's an interesting place to go as well.
Okay.
On a couple of fronts. Number one, newer buildings, you can generally get away with thinner staff on the maintenance side. I wonder if you're thinking now about staffing ratios differently with the longer term hold building. And then your portfolio is spread across a number of states, 3 or 4 states. With this increased responsibility on the maintenance side, do you have to staff at the regional level differently than you did before? Let's talk about the on-site first. Are we thinking about different staffing levels on-site, and how are you addressing that?
So to speak for the company, I cannot do that. But generally, you have 1 technician per 100. As you go luxury, that kind of changes. Depending on the amount of amenities you have, that kind of changes as well. As far as the future and how that looks, I think that's an industry thing. With technology, that's going to be changing a lot of it.
The technology is shifting the on-site staff requirements?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether it's any software, anything that's we're using for work order management, or even technology for running your systems, whether it's fire alarm, pools, irrigation, that is a knowledge change that you have to keep up with, because the old analog stuff's out.
Yeah.
So as you're talking about staffing, you also have to consider training with that as well. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have more people. You just need to have the right training for the same amount of people.
Yeah. So more training, more applications maybe that they're in. But talk to me say more about why that's helpful. Like, what have you experienced personally where technology has played a role in making folks on site either more efficient, or maybe even changing the way you need to staff? Like, you had experience with it?
Yeah. Time management, for one. So instead of going up to the office like we did previously in our careers, getting a paperwork order, carbon copy, whatever it may be, your work orders come straight to your phone. You can look at the history of that unit on your phone and say, okay, we've been here, done this, this, and this to this appliance. I need to bring this. It's saving trips to and from the shop. It's saving trips going to the office. They're closing the work order out right then. So that increases our resident satisfaction. That also helps with time management, because they're just continuously, okay, I got that taken care of. Now I'm going to go do this. It's a lot less downtime. We work at a fast pace. I mean, we all do in this industry. And the technology is really helping us keep that pace up.
What do you think, Adrian? You've interviewed a lot of folks that are in this position. Do you think that it's pretty common at this point to have a maintenance and operations system in place to help manage work orders, or is that still evolving? Like, do you still see a lot of operators that are still trying to figure that piece out?
So I think we had to understand big picture that NMHC top 50 only manage about 25% of the entire multifamily inventory. And although we see technology being pushed into the top 50 for maintenance, whatever's outside of the top 50 still stays, for the most part, pen and paper. If we were to take, the largest maintenance apps, right? I think from what I'm hearing, Happyco is somewhere like $5 million, and Appwork is about another $1 million. So this makes $6 million. Leonardo is at about $2 million, right? So we have 5, we have 6, we have $8 million accounted for. Of course, there are like SitePlan and other. Let's just say there's 10 million altogether. Right? We have 23 million units institutional, right? So we're not even at 50%. And I think PMSs aren't equipped to properly handle maintenance workflows. They have built solutions that are like just basics, but they're not gonna make them any better because that's not their bread and butter. They're being sold and they're being built as accounting software with some add-ons to them. And in order to keep the customer, they offer a full suite, including maintenance services. But at the end of the day, they're not competitive. They're just doing the very basics, and they're not like very user-friendly.
Yeah. So you guys are probably a little ahead of the curve then in terms of adoption. Great.
I'd say so.
Are you looking at anything else that's right now on the market? Like, recently there's a lot of discussion about AI and maintenance, AI and leasing, AI and resident communications. Any of that on your radar as like the next step that maybe helps in this transition?
So part of that is what are we trying to solve for?
Yeah.
So we don't technically have any issues right now. So it's hard to justify bringing in a new software just because it's new.
That's a great point.
Like the system that we're using now works perfectly for what we need. And down the road, it may not. But as of right now, we're not really looking at those type of things because we don't have that problem solved.
Yeah. Yeah. There's this interesting point of view. For example, like leasing worked great. Leasing worked great before we had AI leasing systems. But we were ultimately saving money and increasing NOI by bringing a leasing system in and moving your leasing agents either out of the organization or into some other role. So there's this fine line between that I've described. I've been in the industry for 20 years. There's this fine line between, hey, it ain't broke, so don't fix it, and hey, maybe this is something we need to think about in order to remain more competitive, save money, or I think in the case of maintenance, reduce some of the burden that's on the maintenance technicians. Like, so you have to weigh all those things, I suppose, right?
Yeah, and we do have a committee that's constantly looking at those things. And like, if we do identify a problem, they're going to be the first ones to say, hey, I've already looked at these 3 softwares. Why don't you take a look, see if that's something you're interested in, see if it's something that would work for us. But right now, we just don't have any need for it. We do use some AI for leasing.
You do? Yeah. What about visibility into work orders? Is that maybe, again, something, your work order volume has been low because these are new properties. Now you're going to see higher volume work orders. Has that been something that's been on your minds at all about how to get better visibility into where maybe some properties are doing great with work orders, some aren't? Maybe you've got turns that are taking longer at some properties than others. Anything like that on your minds?
As far as adding more work orders as doing older property, I think that's a common misconception.
Yeah. Straighten me out.
Yeah, just because it's brand new doesn't mean you're not going to get work orders, especially as you're adding new technology, right? Having like smart home technology in there, that's going to bring its own amount of work orders just for a learning curve, especially with generational gaps, right? If we have smart home technology and you've never had that before, whether it's in your own home or a past unit, that could create some work orders in itself. I would say one way of moving around that is doing maybe not a training video for the residents, but like a small intro on how to use their own devices within their unit. Now, outside of that, with just more work orders coming in as the property gets older, that goes right back to that preventative maintenance. You can take care of a lot of that while you're in there doing your preventative maintenance, speaking with those residents. You're in their home, so you want to get to know them, make them comfortable in their home, ask them what they're experiencing. Get ready for that. If one unit has a bunch of, let's just use an easy one, smoke alarms that are starting to beep or everything.
Yes, right.
They're all built at the same time,
Yeah.
so might as well get that on that list and start hammering that out prior to all those work orders coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The smart home is an interesting anecdote because it's adding work orders to an already overburdened local team. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you imagine, is there an opportunity? This is where maybe AI could come in. Can you imagine a world where those work orders or similar, let's call them low order work orders, could be handled by AI? Do you think residents would accept that?
No.
No. Go on, say more.
So our residents are paying a lot of money to live in these apartments.
Yes.
They moved into these apartments because it's maintenance free. So telling them, hey, I need you to do this to your garbage store so it'll make it work. A lot of them aren't going to accept that.
That's like the self-help, like fix your own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be a good thing for
Yeah.
us.
Have you tried that before? Have you guys tested that?
No. We had
Just sounds like a bad idea.
We had a discussion about it, and we do know our residents, our clientele. Yeah, so that's possibly something that could be done as you're turning over a property. So, established properties where we already have residents, no way. They're gonna be like, no, like somebody's gonna come fix this. You can spin that narrative in a new property. Say, hey, these are some steps that we've taken to help increase your satisfaction. You're not going to be waiting for 2 hours for somebody to come reset a breaker for you. This AI will walk you through it.
Yeah.
And I have looked at some programs like that. Joy AI is a really good one for that.
Yeah.
They have their automated systems that will walk a resident through some repairs. It's just that's not our business model right now.
Yeah. The resident experience is
They're why we're here.
Can I just add on to that too? Like with the Joy AI, like it is, it's obviously going to have some good aspects to it, right? But taking that human element out too, especially when you're talking about emergency on call, right? And you're talking to a technician that you see or a manager, whatever it may be, that you see on your property, at your home, day in, day out. That's going to bring a sense of comfortability, right? Versus a third party and or a generated response.
Yeah, it's a big part of the resident experience.
Absolutely. Well, and for both parties too. I've gotten numerous calls where it's quote unquote an emergency, and I'm on the phone talking with them. I said, okay, no, this is not an emergency. Just touch this and I'll be there the following morning. Or if you're not comfortable, I will be out.
Yeah.
If they don't know me, they just say, come out. If they're talking to a third party or to an AI, right?
Yeah.
Versus, hey, it's Andrew. How you doing, man?
Yeah, like how many times have you gotten on call? Because I know I used to all the time. And like, hey, my air conditioner's not working. So I answer the phone. I'm like, hey, I'll be over in like 30 minutes. Like, oh, Kenny, you're on call. Don't worry about it. Just come by in the morning. We'll open the window. It's fine.
Yeah.
You lose that. You lose that.
Yeah. Okay, well, final question, and we'll wrap up with this. Is there anything that's on the horizon for you guys as you move into this new mode of long-term hold and maintenance? Is there anything on your mind that you can wave a magic wand that you wish you could fix, that you feel like wasn't a problem before, and now you're in a different, kind of a little different universe?
I feel like it's kind of the same universe, to be honest with you. Keeping them for 3 to 5, or 2 or 3, 5 years versus keeping them 5, 10, 15. It's just a different level of maintenance that's needed. Whether it's upfront cost for getting your supply built up versus having something that's 10 years old and you're working on dishwasher parts or whatever it may be. It's just a different mindset of what's going to be happening over those next couple of years. And you can, for lack of a better term, you can pretty much dial that out. You're always going to have the random things that break, right? That's inevitable. You have user error as well. You have the human element that you can't avoid. Lifespans on equipment is pretty dialed in now.
You know when stuff is expected to fail.
Yes, and you can plan accordingly. That's another whole beast right there, but it's the same mindset, I feel like.
Got it.
Yeah, the way we've managed them on the maintenance side and all that, we've managed them like we were going to hold them. It's just we had a little different budgets back then.
Yeah, budget's another. Maybe that's the magic wand you want to wave. Larger budget for me.
I think that's every maintenance department's with.
Yeah, there's no magic wand. I think it's just planning and preparing for it. Like right now, we're looking at items that we're going to have to replace in 3 years on the site. What maintenance can need to be done in that 3 years, so we can kind of forecast for that. Make sure we're holding the money back in ready reserves for those, so we're not putting the company in a bind, but we're still maintaining that pristine asset.
Well, congratulations to you guys for all the long history of successful operators and this new journey of operators and long-term holders. Thanks for taking some time to talk about this. It's very interesting.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.